Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. Once again, Tom Downey here. We've got some roster moves to break down for the Dallas Cowboys. 2 players being signed, 1 player being put on IR, another being waived injured, which means they'll go to IR after that. We will break that down on today's video. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get a push notification on today's video. I'm not actually sure. At this point, there's been such a whirlwind amount of content since Thursday afternoon that I don't really know what the push game is. So help us out here on today's show by sharing this video so all your friends can stay in the know on the roster moves made by the Cowboys. They are, as we reported last night, well, I guess as was reported last night, I'm not really that guy. Lyle Collins signed with the Dallas Cowboys. They've also signed the other offensive lineman that they worked out. Geron Christian is joining the club to make room for those 2 players. Parris Campbell's season is over. He has been placed on injured reserve. I suppose there is the possibility the Cowboys work out an injury settlement or release him from injured reserve, but it's not actually a season-ending knee injury from what had been previously reported, more like a sprained MCL, I think it was, for Parris Campbell, but this would end his season unless he is released from injured reserve. Matt Waletzko, the last standing piece of the Amari Cooper ill-gotten trade for the Dallas Cowboys, has been waived injured as well. What the waived injured designation means is he is subject to waivers. Any team can claim him if they want to. I don't really think anyone's going to claim him from waivers. So he will then revert to IR once he clears waivers. Not today, but tomorrow he would clear waivers. He'd then revert to IR. A lot of times what you see happen in these scenarios is that player is then, got essentially bought out from injured reserve. They reach an injury settlement that's not quite one-to-one of their, it'd be like essentially they get the amount of time that they'd really miss with the injury. It's not quite one-to-one for their overall base salary. And then he can go try to find another spot and go find a new practice squad, whatever. But I don't think Parris Campbell, Matt Waletzko had any real chance of making the Cowboys roster this year. They were practice squatters at best. Collins and Christian, I think, do face pretty uphill battles to make the Cowboys roster, but it does kind of stick with the Cowboys' plan along the offensive line of focusing on veterans to round out the bottom of the roster and hopefully get better preseason play and better preseason evaluations from the backups on this team. So give me your one-word reaction to the roster moves made today. Obviously, none of them are Micah related, but let me know at the pinned comment of today's show. We mentioned Lyle Collins on yesterday's video. I don't feel the need to rehash that one too much on that front. I think he and Geron Christian fit very similar molds. Christian is a career journeyman at this point. He was drafted back in 2018 out of Louisville, has bounced around the NFL. We'll go more in depth on him. Collins, of course, is very good friends with Dak Prescott. This is his 3rd stint, which is kind of funny. I don't know if he really makes the Cowboys roster. Just the way the offensive line depth chart is sorted out with, Tyler Guyton is not going to begin the year on IR. He should be good to go. So that's one spot. Obviously, your other starters, Tyler Smith and Cooper Beebe and Tyler Booker and Terrence Steele. So now you're 5 deep. Nathan Thomas sure seems like he's on track to make this roster. Brock Hoffman is going to end up making this roster. So, okay, I think Awesome Richards still makes this team in kind of a extra offensive lineman role. So, at that point, you've kind of filled a lot of your spots. That's the minimum you'd be carrying. They drafted a Johnny Cornelius. Keem Adeniji got reps with the ones at training camp. Sadiq Charles is a veteran. So I think there is practice squad spots available. I think those are very much up for grabs where I don't think Dakota Shepley is going to be one of those options. But Christian, Collins, Adeniji, Charles, we'll see what TJ Bass does. Johnny Cornelius, all those players have chances to carve out a practice squad spot there. So we'll see how that plays out. We will have you covered with how it plays out. Daily videos, it's been a lot of videos in the last 48 hours here on the channel. I didn't sleep very good the night before. Slept okay last night, but hit that sub button if you haven't already, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. More here on Geron Christian, third-round pick, 2018 by the now Commanders, out of Louisville. He's started 25 career games over the course of his career. Mostly has played on the left side of the offensive line. And La'el Collins has, of course, played predominantly left guard and right tackle in the NFL. I am very curious to see, where those guys play in practice, how much they get involved today, what they do tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but what they do during the preseason with Adenijai has a concussion. So that's another offense line they're not going to have available for at least a couple of days. Waletzko's gone. Does Collins get right tackle work along with Johnny Cornelius while Adenijai's banged up? Does Geron Christian get some left guard run? Does La'el Collins go get some left guard run? I am curious where those guys line up with the second/third team offensive linemen. But Christian played for the Commanders, then spent 2021 with the Texans, was in 2022 with the Chiefs and the Dolphins, back to Houston in 2023, to Cleveland in 2023, where he did actually start some games and wasn't too bad. Then followed Bill Callahan to the Titans in 2024, did not make the roster, went back to the Rams in 2024, back to the Browns as well. Hasn't been able to find a destination yet until today, joining up with the Dallas Cowboys. So veteran offensive line depth. The Cowboys' plan, I think, is pretty clear on the offensive line. They're going to have better players to round out that 10 to 15 spot. They're not going to have unknown, undrafted free agent from William and Mary out there. Sorry for the stray, I guess. I don't know if that player exists right now. I know Charles Grant got drafted, but they're not going to have a bunch of unknown guys protecting the backup QBs in the preseason. They're going to invest in that backup offensive line spot with vets who might not be the greatest, but Adenijai, Charles, Christian, Collins, they've all played real games. Every player on this Cowboys offensive line outside of Dakota Shepley, the 15 players they got on the roster, every single one of them has either played real, actual NFL snaps or I guess 60 now, actually. They've either played real, actual NFL snap started games or they were draft picks. They have invested a lot more in the depth of the offensive line than most teams have, which I like. One of those guys was Matt Waletzko. The writing has been on the wall for a while. I was a little surprised he made the roster last year. That was a fine fifth-round pick. You got several years out of him. You tried to develop him as a backup offensive lineman. It didn't work out. It's fine. It's not that different than the Johnny Cornelius and Austin Richards picks you're trying out right now of Nathan Thomas too. Let's see if we can develop them. If it does, sweet. If not, it was a mid to late day 3 pick. Those guys don't normally work out anyway. He'll always be tied into the Amari Cooper trade, which of course was not a good one for the Cowboys, but that's how it goes. Oh, by the way, Amari Cooper did not retire, by the way. I know that there was a very trendy fake Schefter tweet. That did not happen. I do want to just mention that one real quick. So let's go done. He'll revert to IR. Parris Campbell out for the year unless he gets bought out and released from injured reserve. He was never really going to make the team. As soon as I never thought he was going to make it when they signed him. You can go back and watch the video. I'm we'll see. Maybe he was an emergency practice squad option. If something happened to Kevontae Turpin, Campbell could sub in as a backup returnman, backup, etc. Maybe the Cowboys think Deuce Vaughn or Jaden Blue could handle that stuff for them. That we'll see how it plays out in the preseason, but I think that is a possibility. But he was never going to make the 53-man roster, so it didn't really just make sense for Dallas to keep him around. And I think they needed the extra offensive line depth because remember, you're going to go into the preseason, right? Guyton's not going to be available. You're not going to play Tyler Smith. You're not going to play Cooper Beebe. You'll play Booker maybe a little bit, probably not that much. Terrence Steele is not going to play. So you're going to have Awesome Richards. Well, Rob Jones is hurt. Brock Hoffman's going to play some. TJ Bass will play some. Ajani Cornelius will play some. Hakeem Adenijai has a concussion. Sadiq Charles will play some. Dakota Shepley, Nathan Thomas, Matt Waletzko, he's banged up. So all of a sudden, your available offensive linemen really got thin real quick. If you were going to get into the third quarter of that game, you were going to have 6 or 7 offensive linemen max. So you actually did need to, just from a numbers game perspective, get more bodies in there and get more guys and also protect against another injury if that happens. So all of that is the core reason why the Cowboys are bringing in Geron Christian and La'el Collins today. That does it for today's show. If you think either guy makes the roster, Collins or Christian, Type Y for yes, N for no.